Okay, thanks.
It is Friday, September 26th, and this is our Team Shine Habits of Health call on week 9, the sleep factor. And what we're discussing today is the importance of sleep in our lives. And really, the bottom line is that sleep is such a big deal that the company now has a whole line of sleep things, from the Restful Mind sleep tea, the chill time gum, the melatonin, the infrared blanket, all things designed to help us increase sleep. Without sleep, our bodies don't lose weight very well. We increase inflammation when we don't have a lot of sleep. And so it's one of those important healthy habits that often gets overlooked because we're so busy. And we all have the same 24 hours in the day. And so it's a commitment, just like anything else, to get yourself to bed on time and to create an environment, which is really what the sleep chapter is about. How can you create an environment in your life to increase sleep? So for women, the recommended daily allotment of sleep is 7 to 8 hours, and men is 8 to 9 hours. So I don't know why we get gypped, but maybe it's because God knew we wouldn't get 8 to 9 hours. Maybe that's why, I think. But truthfully, our brains function better when we have that sleep, and especially necessary to have uninterrupted sleep without distraction. So one little thing that I learned that I wasn't aware of are blue lights. If anybody has a TV in your room or your alarm clock and it has a blue light, it should be covered when you sleep. It makes your brain do funky things. Even though your eyes are closed, you can see that blue light. So as you guys were going through the sleep chapter, did you have any tidbits that you wanted to share that kind of stuck out to you, that was some new information that you got from the chapter? Unmute yourself when you have something to say. Or not.
Well, the one thing that stuck out to me is just how many people sleep with their phones by their beds, and me being one of them because my alarm didn't go off several times. And so then I brought my phone up as a backup, and I found myself being much more disturbed and waking up at night, if I got a text in the middle of the night or something like that from those that don't sleep and they think it's okay to text.
Right.
So again, that was my own actual experience. So I turn my phone down, my volume down if I have it by my bed now.
That's really great. It's really hard to have your phone in your room. I highly recommend that your phone goes to bed at night, not in the same room as you.
Yep, it's kind of like your children.
Exactly. Put it to bed. So that's really good. Some other things that they talked about, and actually part of our sleep set with that Take Shape just came out with, and it's its own exclusive line. Though we love Medifast, Take Shape for Life wanted to start having some of their own products as well, which are the earplugs and the mask. And one of the reasons why they have those is those are two really great tools to use. I use earplugs every night. So it's a really great tool to use as well. Another tip is to check and see if you grind your teeth at night. If you've ever had your dentist tell you that you grind your teeth, you definitely need a bite guard. Your dentist can provide a bite guard. A lot of chiropractors recommend a bite guard called the Aqualizer, and it can just be worn an hour out of the day. It doesn't have to be worn all the time, but it helps take the brain connection away from the clenching and the grinding of the teeth. So it comes from anxiety. So we all should be working on our stress, ways to de-stress in our life as well. Doing things like taking a hot bath before you go to bed, maybe spraying lavender on your pillow. All of those kind of tips just help get your mind rested to have a really good night's sleep. So it's just as important as eating our meals every 2 to 3 hours and balancing our carbs and proteins, is to get that sleep in at night. It's kind of it's the glue that holds it all together. Okay. Another thing I would recommend, as far as sleep position, any chiropractor or physical therapist is going to tell you to sleep on your back, and it's the best for your back and your neck. Best to actually, if you have ever slept with one of those wedge pillows, to put a wedge under your knees, to keep your back in a nice solid structure as far as being in a neutral position. Sometimes when you're on your back can arch a lot and tug at those, really overstretch your hip flexors and put pressure on your low back. So if you put a wedge up under your knees, that helps too, as far as teaching you to sleep on your back. So these are all things that we want to encourage our clients around. Obviously, we can't expect to have perfect sleep overnight, but there are ways that we can incorporate into our life to increase the quality of sleep, thereby increasing the quality of our health. So does anybody have anything else they want to share regarding the habit of sleep? Question, Joy? Oh, let me unmute all.
Okay. I don't have a question. I just thought that was very interesting that sleep deprivation is a form of psychological torture. I mean, that should tell us something, that if people use it as a form of torture and we're doing that to ourselves, that's, that'd be like, wow, you're torturing yourself. If people use this as a form of torture, don't torture yourself by not getting the proper amount of sleep. I thought that was like, whoa.
Absolutely.
Alarming.
For sure. Miss Patricia, chiropractor, what do you have to say about sleep?
I think that something that is really important to educate our clients on is that just because you get to Saturday and Sunday and you don't have to get up and go to work doesn't necessarily mean that you should get up and then 3 hours later take a 3-hour nap and then do something and then watch a movie and fall asleep during the movie over the weekend. You want to try and keep your sleep pattern as consistent as possible. So you can't actually get your sleep back, or people will say, oh, I'll just sleep more this weekend and I'll, catch up on my sleep. You can't do that. There's no catching up on sleep. Once you've lost it, you've lost it. So you just have to get yourself into a good, healthy pattern, so that the body, the cycles, the circadian cycles don't become confused. So Absolutely. Come Sunday night, you're not wanting to stay up until 11:30 or midnight, having to get up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning. So, so that's my one little thing, my chiropractic thing. Although I do agree with you completely that most of us should sleep on our backs. I actually read a study about 2 years ago from the Mayo Clinic, and I'll try and see if I can find it again. But we are not necessarily supposed to sleep on our back. So sleeping on the side, depending on if you have any extra ailments or spinal conditions diagnosed by a chiropractor or a physical therapist, might not warrant you sleeping on your back. So just be careful prescribing that to some clients. Do not sleep though on your stomach. That's the one that you can tell them. So that's my tidbit.
I just have always thought that, especially with what I do with corrective exercise and seeing people's postures, that you can always tell the side they sleep on because of typically will people have a certain side that they sleep on over another, but you're exactly right. Typically people with sleep apnea can't sleep on their back, as well as I have a client that has, I think it's a deviated septum, and he has a trouble sleeping on his back as well. So
if people have heart conditions, it's actually recommended that they sleep on their left side. Okay. Because the heart is located on the left side, so it doesn't necessarily have to pump as hard.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Those are different types of kind of nuances for sleeping. But there is no correct way to sleep, whether it be on your back or your side. But most of us carry too much tummy weight, or us girls have too large of breasts to allow for the curves of our spine to relax at night on our stomach. So that's really the only one that is a no-no.
Contraindicated.
Yeah.
Contraindicated.
Yeah, contraindicated.
I love that word.
It's a good word.
All right.
I'll write that down.
You wrote that down.
Thanks for having a new time for me. It's been a crazy morning, so sorry I was late.
That's okay. Hold on. So that's going to conclude our call on sleep for today.